The Pope has a 7-year action plan called Laudato Si, in which he urges the entire world to join him in rescuing the environment. What would be his final answer to the environmental crisis? This is the first video of a series called Laudato Si, Sunday Law is Coming, which I'm putting together. As I present Laudato Si, preparing the world for Sunday legislation, may you listen with an open heart. Climate change is the most important issue of our time, and it is unfolding far faster than we anticipated. Climate change is wreaking havoc in every corner of the planet, with increasing temperatures spurring environmental degradation, natural catastrophes, weather extremes, food and water insecurity, economic instability, war, and terrorism. Sea levels are rising, the Arctic is melting, coral reefs are dying, the oceans are becoming acidic, and forests are on fire. Business as usual would not suffice. As the endless cause of climate change reaches irreversible highs and people seek solutions, now is the moment for change, and tangible steps are required to address this ecological disaster. Revelation 13 verse 12, it exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence, and makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose mortal wound was healed. Pope Francis declared in his encyclical Laudato Si that global climate change, formerly known as global warming, is the result of human misuse of the environment, particularly in market-driven and consumer-driven capitalist countries. He claims that unless this problem is handled immediately, it would eventually lead to the extinction of the human species. As a result, he has urged international leaders to address climate change. Francis stated that signing and executing international environmental protection accords is a high concern since the world has suffered from wounds caused by our predatory mindset. These wounds, which are the result of reckless usage of natural resources, have shown themselves spectacularly in an unparalleled ecological catastrophe, which has been exacerbated by the coronavirus epidemic. As a result, we require a new ecological strategy that affects our way of existence in the world, our lifestyles, our interaction with the Earth's resources, and our understanding of people and how they spend their lives in general. I would therefore want to ask everyone to join us on this path, Francis remarked, referring to the action platform, and adding that only by working together will we be able to achieve the future we desire, a more inclusive, fraternal, peaceful, and sustainable world. There is great hope. We may all cooperate with our own cultures and experiences, as well as our efforts and skills so that our Mother Earth regains its natural beauty and creation shine once more according to God's plan, Francis continued. This is the lengthy program that will integrate Pope Francis' ecological and cyclical interactions within the Church. The Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development will begin delivering Laudato Si's plans on October 4, 2021, the Feast of St. Francis, on their website, laudatosiactionplatform.org. The roadmap for Laudato Si will take 7 years to complete. The first year is devoted to establishing a sense of community, gathering resources, exchanging ideas, and formulating goals. The Laudato Si objectives are followed by 5 years of actual measures to attain the objectives, and finally a final sabbatical year to praise and thank God. The biblical tradition reveals that this regeneration requires restoring and honoring the rhythms imprinted in nature by the hand of the Creator in Laudato Si's paragraph 72, and then Pope Francis makes remarks concerning the Sabbath. This is seen, for example, in the ordinance of the seventh-day Sabbath. God took a break from all his activity and instructed Israel to have a Sabbath every seventh day. A sabbatical year was set aside for Israel every 7 years to give the country a thorough rest. Francis emphasizes the importance of total rest for the land, and on what day does he advise we all rest? On Sunday, our participation in the Eucharist has unique value. Laudato Si, paragraph 237 says. Sunday, like the Jewish Sabbath, is supposed to be a day that repairs our connection with God, with ourselves, with others, and with the world. Sunday is the day of resurrection, the first day of the new creation, whose first fruits are the Lord's rising humanity, the promise of all created realities' eventual transfiguration. It also announces man's peace in God for all eternity. Pope Francis is introducing the Sunday rest stage, and he's looking for an answer to the question of where on this day people may rest and the environment can breathe and recover. He stresses the term law on Sunday, the day of Christ's resurrection, alluding to the weekly Sabbath that outlawed employment once a week. Is this a sign of things to come? Are we going to see the fulfillment of Revelation 13 in the Pope's Sunday agenda? The second beast, the land beast, which is the United States of America, will force all nations of the globe to pledge allegiance to the first beast, the papal Antichrist, according to prophecy. The second beast's mission, according to prophecy, is to assist the first beast in regaining its power. The land beast will wield the first beast's authority on its behalf, compel everyone to worship it, erect an image in its honor, and impose its mark. In the presence of the first beast, this lamb is everything he is. The land beast USA will aid the Seabees, the Pope, in regaining power by assisting in the destruction of 3 barriers that hinder the papacy from exercising world dominance. The first barrier is between Protestants and Catholics, the second barrier is between church and state, and the third barrier is between Catholicism and secular-minded world philosophies. In the Middle Ages, the Pope was controlled under this worship or else system, and millions were persecuted and died as a result. This very act reproduces the prisoners of the church-state type of government that the papacy governs, and this is precisely what the United States will do in the future. Of course, making Sunday a day for the environment to rest, for families to renew their relationships by attending Mass, and for the poor to take a vacation from what he regards as the relentless and dehumanizing cycle of capitalist existence is one of the Pope's provisions of the Rescue the Planet campaign. At first glance, the not-so-subtle addition of Sunday after the encyclical looks benign. The encyclical Laudato Si states in paragraph 237 about Sunday. It's especially important on Sunday, when we're preparing in the UK. Sunday, like the Jewish Sabbath, is intended to be a day of healing for our relationships with God, ourselves, others, and the world. Rest allows us to see the bigger picture and reawakens our awareness of others' rights. As a result, the day of rest, which is centered on the Eucharist, shines a light on the whole week and inspires us to care more for nature and the poor. The Pope makes a point about the Bible's Sabbath being Jewish, which I found interesting. That is, the seventh-day Sabbath is only observed by Jews, but Sunday is the new Sabbath for Christians. This is a common fallacy made by Catholics and the vast majority of Protestants nowadays. According to Genesis 2 verse 3, God blessed and sanctified the seventh day before sin entered the world. Set apart for holy use is what it means to be sanctified. At the time of creation, Adam and Eve were the only human beings for whom the Sabbath was established. Because Adam and Eve were not Jewish, an honest examination of Genesis 1 and 2 reveals that when the Sabbath was established, there were no Jews and no sin. The final misunderstanding concerning the Sabbath and who it was designed for was clarified by Jesus. Mark 2 verse 27 says the Sabbath was made for man. He stated unequivocally that the Sabbath was created for man. The Greek term anthropos is employed here, and it is from this word that we obtain the word anthropology, which means study of humanity. On a biblical level, Pope Francis' comment in paragraph 237 is a roar. The Pope has a new agenda for the churches. He wants them to collaborate on Catholic social teaching and liberal causes, which will aid us in overcoming prejudice and misunderstanding. Make no mistake, the Pope's ecumenical gestures are intended to shift our attitudes toward Rome. It is a call from Rome to Protestants to put a stop to their demonstrations. However, as Bible-believing Christians, we understand the papacy's ultimate goal in bringing global climate change to the fore. My brothers and sisters, you must fix your gaze on Jesus' scriptural truth and consider it from a prophetic perspective. The Laudato Si's 7-year action plan is a prelude to conditioning the world to accept an obligatory Sunday legislation. People who continue to reject Jesus' last warning signals from Revelations 13 and 14 will readily accept the beast's mark. It doesn't matter if you're an atheist, agnostic, Buddhist, Hindu, or of any ethnicity, Pope Francis's plan is devious. It won't come under the cover of religion or a system of beliefs. To rest the environment, Francis believes we must all be one in this Sunday loss.